Hey, what's up? Improvement Warrior. Jason Yun back with you again. Welcome to Improvement Warrior Podcast. This is a podcast all about alternative health, decentralized health, and getting you out of the crappy ass mindset that gets most people sick. Conventional wisdom, fitness, nutrition, start there. Nope, that's not where you start. Don't start there. So, welcome. This is episode number 68, and this is my first circadian biology webinar. So this is the full webinar. This is probably the shortest webinar I've ever done. There are a total of 4 circadian biology webinars. I'll be putting them all up, but this is the only free one. The other ones are premium, so I'll be putting up previews of the part 2, 3, and 4. And the full version will be on Patreon. It will also be on my Improvement Warrior University Premium membership portal. So that is improvementwarriorfitness.com/IWU if you want to check that out. But everything, pretty much everything that I do is going up there. All the courses that I've done, all the premium webinars, the free webinars, all the posts, everything, studies, everything is organized because I'm still learning this stuff. Circadian biology, light, water, magnetism, all that stuff. It's very complex, and I've got things over here in Trello, I've got things over here in Evernote, I've got things on my computer, I've got things on my phone, and this way I can just organize everything, and it's easy to find, easy to backtrack, and easy to, if I need to do certain things, make a post to somebody, send something to somebody, it's very easy to find. So, yeah, but Circadian Biology 1, episode number 68, and so just listen, and it's basically just an introduction to circadian biology, circadian rhythm, what's it all about, why is it so important. Our eye is a camera, but the more important function is the clock. So that is, we are run by clocks, and our master clock is in the eye, and then we've got all these peripheral clocks in front of organs, in front of all our genes, thousands and thousands of these clocks, and they all need to sync in a rhythm. And if they get out of rhythm, then that's when we get modern man diseases, and that's not what we want. So share this with pretty much everybody, because everybody's got clocks, everybody's human, and yeah, so especially the more modern problems they have, then yeah, they really need to fix their circadian biology. They need to fix their mitochondria, but focusing on one will fix the other. So focus on your circadian rhythm, you're going to fix your mitochondria. Focus on your mitochondria, you're going to fix your hormones. Focus on your hormones, you're going to fix your mitochondria and your circadian rhythm. Okay, everything is tied in together. But certain things going on in the world. For Christmas, I got something known as dude wipes. So this might be a little too much information for you, but since I started using them, so basically I would just wipe like so dude wipes. It's just wiping your ass, just like but it's like a baby wipe for men. But I would typically wipe my ass like I normally would, and then I would use the dude wipes, and it's like, ooh, what's going on? There's more up there. So it's like I haven't been wiping my ass properly for 39, 40 years whenever I started wiping my ass. So highly recommend those. Just check them out. You can get them on Amazon, whatever. Yeah, so pretty cool. We do have a couple new sponsors, so the other one will be later in the show, but Sarah Kleiner, if you don't know who she is, she's a good person to follow, does a lot of these kind of posts and whatnot as well, but she has an app called My Circadian app. Whenever I show my, yep, so if I show my phone, it just shows up as a big red blur. But My Circadian app, it's pretty cool. You can go to improvementwarriorfitness.com/circadian app and use code YUN316, all caps, all one word, YUN316. So YUN316. Android users, you can get 3-week free trial. and Apple users, you can get a 4-week free trial. And I believe it's 10% off after that. You do need a subscription. The free version is not very kosher, but it'll basically tell you when sunrise is, when sunset is, when UVA shows up, when it goes away, when UVB is around, and you can also track your vitamin D. It also has a lux meter built into it. It's got a compass built into it. It'll tell you the UV index, moon tracker. It'll tell you the temperature, current temperature, and there's free articles, videos, reviews, and all kinds of stuff. So it is very robust, very cool. Highly recommend checking that out. But otherwise, let's get into Circadian Biology 1. I'll see you there. Have a great day. Stay strong. Stay positive. Be the improvement warrior.
Hey, what's up, Improvement Warrior? Jason Young back with you again. Welcome to the next video in the Improvement Warrior University series. Today we're going to be talking about circadian biology. I know we covered it briefly in the 13 Pillars webinar, but we're going to go into a little bit more depth. This is going to be a shorter one. I realize a lot of them have been close to an hour or more, so I'm trying to cut them down and keep them brief and get to 1 point or 2 points and then get that into your head. So with the webinars, it's very important to either take notes or continue to watch, listen, because that's going to get inside of you and it's going to help you continue to remember, continue to learn. Because if you just listen to something one time, I think the retention rate is like less than 10%. But if you do it over and over again, it's kind of like a song. You don't learn the lyrics of a song in the first time you hear it. So you got to keep listening to it, keep listening to it, keep listening to it, and it gets infected into your brain. And sometimes you will listen to it again, like the third or fourth or fifth time, and you say, oh, I never heard that before. Or you're a different person. You've learned some other things along the way of your journey. And yeah, and then you just keep going. And that's how success happens. So this is an important one, and we're going to relate it to a lot to nutrition and whatnot. So we'll get into here. So we're going to go over leptin as well. Let me share my screen here and get started. Okay. All right. So we have got circadian biology. Our internal clock that runs with the earth is the most powerful thing for our health. Okay. All right. So this was the actual slide that was included in the 13 Pillars webinar. And I just included it here just for a brief, quick overview. So we are run by clocks. Okay? We have body clocks, we have brain clocks, we have heart clocks, we have liver clocks, okay? Gene clocks, all that stuff. The master clock is the SCN, which is the suprachiasmatic nucleus. We'll talk more about that. And everything related to health runs off of your circadian biology, your circadian rhythm. There's a diurnal rhythm, so that's the 24, within the 24-hour clock. If you learn about circadian biology, all the pieces are going to fall into place. Okay, so health, weight loss, fat loss, energy, it's going to be super easy for you. But you have to respect circadian biology and your circadian rhythm. All right. So number one, eat during the light cycles, and we'll talk more about that here coming up. All right. So you charge your phone. You need to charge your SCN. So the suprachiasmatic nucleus is not a very good clock. Okay. So like your cell phone, the time never really changes. It keeps really good time. If you wear your watch, you usually don't have to reset it all the time. But the suprachiasmatic nucleus, you do have to reset it every single day. And that is called photoentrainment. You want to see the sunrise every single morning, or at least If you can't get out for right when it's rising, you want to get out before the UV starts to show up. And one thing you can do when you know that UV is showing up is you can download an app called D-Minder. So D as in dog, Minder. And it's awesome. I use it to track how much vitamin D I'm making basically per minute. But it'll also tell you how much UV is there. It'll tell you the forecast of what the UV is going to be for the next 4 or 5 days. And then as the day goes on, it'll tell you it's a UV of 1, a UV of 2. Okay? But it's important to get out there when the UV is 0 to basically reset your circadian suprachiasmatic nucleus clock. Okay, so that SCN is the grandfather clock. Skin in the game is also important. So the more skin you can have, seeing the sunrise, and even if the sun is not there, it's important to get out there. Rain, clouds, get out there. The eyes is the most important thing to see that thing, because the suprachiasmatic nucleus is back through the eye, through the hypothalamus, or yeah, I believe it's the hypothalamus. But it's very important for that to see it, okay? And that will reset the clock, and you'll do that every morning. And that's the number one thing for circadian biology, okay? So I made this, see the sunrise every day for the rest of your life. Your health and mitochondria depend on it, because somebody needs you, needs a healthy you. Okay, so tissue and organ clocks. All right, so we are basically, our body is a network of clocks, and they are all sensitive to time cues. Okay, we have anywhere between 20 to 25,000 clocks, maybe even more. All right, the SCN runs primarily from light, and food intake is a major cue for metabolism and the metabolic clocks that we have. Okay, so food can affect the liver clocks, but not affect the SCN. Okay, so each clock runs off different time cues. So if you have too many circadian mismatches, okay, you're eating the wrong types of food, you're eating wheat, you're eating soy, you're eating carbohydrates out of season, you are eating PUFAs, too many PUFAs, so polyunsaturated fats, so vegetable oil, soybean oil, all that stuff. Or you're just indoors all the time looking at blue light, you're watching TV, not wearing blue blockers. Okay, all of those are circadian mismatches. And if we have too many of those circadian mismatches, then that means the different clocks in our body are going to be off. Okay, so that will present different symptoms. And then eventually you'll get a disease, depending on where that mismatch is the greatest inside your body, then eventually organ failure, and then death. Okay, so we want to reverse that. Okay, so meal timing. And this is huge for resetting the circadian rhythm as well. There was a study, Crotchy, he did a single meal feeding and showed it was enough to shift the circadian rhythms in core body temperature and also heart rate, but not affect the melatonin. Okay, so melatonin is basically the gold standard for assessing the central circadian phase. So meal timing can specifically uncouple the circadian rhythm and metabolic tissues and uncouple it from the central circadian phase, which is basically melatonin, the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Okay, so basically that shows that our body clocks can be targeted for change either willingly or unwillingly, or knowingly or unknowingly, without changes in the central clock. So that is huge information. So the website for that article is down there if you do want to read it. And there was at least 3 other studies that were referenced in there that pointed to meal timing and weight loss with the circadian biology and all that stuff. Okay, so the 4-hour rule. Again, eat during the light cycles. If it is dark outside, it is too late, or it's too early, depending on when you wake up. Okay, so the kitchen is basically closed. All right, if it's light outside, kitchen is open. Okay, so there's a 30 to 60 minute window after sunset. Okay, so if sunset is say 6:30 and you're eating at 6:15, okay, you've got a 30 to 60 minute window after sunset to get that meal in. However, but you do want to make sure you're in compliance with the 4-hour rule, which we'll go over, especially if you're leptin resistant. And the 30 to 60 minute window is the closer you are to your goal health, your goal weight, your goal body fat, the more you can deviate from that window. The more disease, so the more weight you have to lose, the more body fat you have to lose, the more of a disease you have, so say you have multiple sclerosis, arthritis, gluten intolerance, or celiac disease, then you have to stay a little bit more strict. So you pretty much, when sunset is happening, you want to stick with that pretty much most of the time, 90% of the time or more. Okay, so leptin resistance. And all right, so a quick overview before we get into the 4-hour rule. Whoops, what did I just do? Okay, so let me share this handout here, and I'll link up the leptin webinar as well. Okay, but this is basically the leptin hormone leptin handout. I'll include it in the group, or I'll include it down below, so somewhere you can download it here on this page. But leptin is the master hormone. It regulates hunger and appetite. It's the controller of all energy metabolism in the body and brain. Okay? It controls fertility. It controls the action and release of all other hormones made in the brain, the adrenal cortex, thyroid gland, and the gut. Basically, everything. Right? If it's off, you're in big trouble. Okay, so the goal of the leptin reset is basically to force the hypothalamus to rely on circadian rhythms so that it responds to food in a new way. Okay, so are you leptin resistant? And I go over this in the webinar, but if you're 25 pounds or more overweight, if you have a large appetite, you're never full, if you crave certain foods, especially carbohydrates at night, if you have no energy, you are leptin resistant. Okay. And there's two sides to leptin resistance, two very different sides. So there's extreme morbid obesity, and there's also anorexia. Okay, so both of those people are leptin resistant. Okay, so there's basically four steps here. So step one is watch the leptin webinars. And I spelled webinar wrong here. Watch the leptin webinars. If you don't have time, make time. This is your health. This is your body. It's going to affect pretty much everything going forward. If you're not healthy, then that's going to be an issue. You're going to have to make time for disease prevention, lack of energy, lack of production, all that stuff. Then step two is follow a strict paleo ketogenic nutrition plan. Okay. Step three is eat breakfast within 30 minutes of waking. And there's several caveats. We'll go, when we get back to the slideshow, I will go over that caveat. But basically, it's a big ass breakfast, so BAB, but BAB. Okay, so it's 50 to 75 grams of protein or more, okay, in that one meal. Okay, some people, they may only be eating an egg or two, or an egg and a piece of bacon. Okay, you're not a rabbit. Stop eating like a rabbit. Okay, it's got to be big, and to reset that circadian clock, to reset the leptin receptors, we got to do that through light, and we got to do that through protein. Okay, then same amount of fat, or 10 to 25% higher in more than the protein. Carbs should be less than 25 grams during this meal. More overweight than less carbs. No snacking ever. Okay, basically, if you're leptin resistant and you're snacking, it's basically like you're taking a road trip to California or New York, depending on where you live. So you're taking a road trip, but you have a broken fuel gauge. Okay, and you don't know exactly when you need to fill up. Okay, so we just keep snacking and ruining the leptin receptors, so we don't know when we're actually hungry, when we actually need the fuel to give us the energy. Okay, and then during your BAB, do not count calories ever in that meal. Okay, it's not important. Eat your last meal within 4 hours of bed. We'll go over that once we get back to the slideshow. And then step 4, circadian biology is number 1. When you eat is more important than what you eat. Okay, but what is, it's still important, but when is more important. So A, watch the sunrise every morning, even if it's cloudy, if it's raining, if it's snowy. Okay, if you miss this, nothing else matters. You basically fail. It's the number 1 factor for health and circadian biology. And it's also number 1 factor for restoring your leptin sensitivity. B, no snacking again. Destroys the circadian clocks that work with leptin. Okay? So leptin has its own clocks. Start with 3 meals a day, then drop down to 2 when your hunger drops down. Okay, so you'll have that BAB, that big ass breakfast. Lunch is probably going to be the smallest meal. It might just be a snack lunch, but we want to get those 3 square meals in. Okay, then within 1 hour of sunset, make your surroundings as dark as possible and wear blue blocking glasses. Okay, I just put out the blue blocking webinar literally like an hour ago. So watch that one as well. And then expect some time. So average length, 4 to 6 weeks, but expect longer. Okay, never expect it to go as planned. Always expect longer. Okay. All right, so let's get back to the slideshow here.
Colon cancer is the number 2 most diagnosed cancer and the number 2 killer of all cancers in the United States. In 1900, it was number 37th of all killers of cancer. Do you really want to be putting your phone in your pocket, not on airplane mode and not protected in an EMF case? I don't think you do. Defender Shield is one of the cases that I highly recommend. You can check them out at improvementwarriorfitness.com/Defender Shield. Even if you have an EMF case, you still never, ever, never, ever, never, ever put your phone on your head. That is just idiotic. And it is good practice to get into to never put a mobile RF microwave emitting device on your head. Protect your body, protect your heart, protect your brain, protect your mitochondria. It's all you got. Check them out, Defender Shield, improvementwarriorfitness.com/Defender Shield. These are also the kids' blue blockers that we use as well. And they have other products as well. I'm sure you're going to love it. Have a great day. Check out Defender Shield.
So the 4-hour rule is basically you finish eating at least 4 hours before you fall asleep. Okay, this allows leptin to enter the brain and do its thing to start the sleep and the hormone process. Okay, that will be a future leptin series webinar. So right now there's just 2 parts, but there's going to be, I would say, at least 5 parts to leptin. And leptin, it's all about light, okay, not about food. Food is, I mean, it's obviously somewhat important. We have to eat, and we have to make sure we're eating the right foods. So protein is one of those foods that we need to help to reset the receptors. And you also use the light cycles, okay, so the light and dark cycles, but you use the light to resync leptin. So seeing that sunrise is going to help you reset your leptin receptors. The point is to see that sunrise and then eat a good meal shortly after. Okay, So the change from night to morning is the stimulus your body needs to see. So leptin has its own circadian mechanism, just like many of the other hormones, genes, cells, tissues in our body. Okay, and the link for the leptin webinar is there. I'll post it somewhere on this page as well. Okay, and then if you do wake up way before the sun rises, so like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have a 5:15 class. I'm up at 4:30. Okay, so sun doesn't rise for 3-4 hours, depending on the season. Okay, don't eat until you see that sunrise, and then eat within 30 minutes. Okay, so it might be some big changes, but having control of your morning is having control of your health. Okay, some things might need to change. If you're having issues with this information and you don't know how to implement it, ask questions. Always be asking questions. So I'll cover that in a little bit here. All right. Oops. Okay, so hopefully you saw that. Okay, so attitude. Okay, this is the last slide here. A bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. Okay, so mindset and attitude is everything, especially when it comes to this, when it comes to changing your health. Okay, more than likely you've tried more than 1 or 2 or 3 or 8 or 19 different things, and they work for a while, but some of them might not have worked at all. Okay, and then eventually you reversed and you fell back. Okay, attitude is number 1. Mindset is number 1. You must have the attitude of a student who wants an A+, okay, because the result is better health, better brain, better body for the rest of your entire life. Okay, so you need to question everything and never, ever settle. So question the things I've said in this webinar, question the things I've said in other webinars, question the things in, if you're reading my ebooks, if you're watching my videos, question that. If you're watching other people's, ask me, ask them, okay? Ask people that you trust and who you think might know the answer, okay? Find the answer. I always, I post a lot of information from Jack Kruse, Dr. Jack Kruse, and he always wants his people to be mitochondriacs or black swan mitochondriacs. So a mitochondriac is somebody who always focuses on the mitochondria and making it the best it can be. Black swan mitochondriac. How many times have you seen a black swan? Lucy, how many times have you seen a black swan in person? I've never seen one. Okay, so question everything. All right, because if something works for you, for someone else, it might not work for you. So context to your situation has to be crucial. Okay, so some people are just 2 feet deep, other people might be 20 feet deep. All depends. So that's it. Again, I wanted to keep this short and sweet. So if you have questions about this, let me know. And yeah, best of luck to you. I'll see you on a future video, webinar. Stay strong, stay positive, be the improvement. Lucy, stop. I've got a fantastic opportunity to enhance your meals and make a positive impact on the world with our new sponsor, Wild Pastures. We all know the importance of quality nutrition and the role it plays in our overall health journey. That's why I'm excited to introduce to you Wild Pastures. They provide 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, heritage pork, and wild-caught seafood, all raised on family-run farms in the United States with the highest ethical standards. We've been using them since December of 2024 and absolutely love it. We chose the pork and beef package. By choosing Wild Pastures, you're not only fueling your body with nutrient-rich, delicious proteins, but you're also supporting sustainable farming practices that benefit the environment and local communities. Imagine enjoying your meals knowing that you're making a difference. And here is the best part. As a listener of Improvement Warrior podcast, you get an exclusive deal. Visit improvementwarriorfitness.com/wildpastures to receive 20% off for life and an additional $20 off your first order. It's a win-win for your health, taste buds, and the planet. So why wait? Make the switch to ethically raised quality meats today and elevate every single meal. Again, head on over to improvementwarriorfitness.com/wildpastures and take advantage of this amazing offer.
If you would like to support this podcast, then please visit me on Patreon to become a patron of Improvement Warrior Podcast. The podcast may be free for you, but it definitely is not free for me. So even if it's just $1 pledge or $3 or $50, I would greatly appreciate it. Just search on Patreon for Improvement Warrior or go to patreon.com/Improvement Warrior.
We are always looking for ratings for the podcast. It helps my podcast be found by others looking to improve their life and health, as well as it helps us get ranked higher. So please help us out so that I may continue bringing this life-changing podcast to you and others around the world. Just go to the leave a review section of your favorite podcast listening app and let us know what you think. 5 stars is preferred, but please be honest. Thank you in advance.